Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers, and we're still in Bari today with Nick Metta at Studio Legale Metta. And today what we're going to talk about is something you guys have asked me a lot. How do I turn my property into a vacation rental when I'm not there? So there's some things you really need to know, and Nick's going to tell us all about it. Hi Nick.
Hi Chris, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too, thank you so much. Now let's talk about what is required to actually start up a vacation rental for your Italian property. What are the things that you need to have in place with regards to registration, certificates, taxes, and all that sort of thing?
Sure, yes. So we're talking about short-term rental. So under 30 days. That's the definition of short-term rental. So when you want to rent your property for a short amount of time, what you want to look at, first of all, is regional regulation. And in particular, in Italy, there are 20 regions. Like in the US, there might be 50 states. In Italy, there are regions like Puglia, Campania, Tuscany, Sardinia, Sicily. They are all regions, and they have their local government. And at the regional level, they establish tourism law. So each region has a set of rules for short-term rentals. And in general, right now, most regions, I would say almost them, have a specific regulation where if you want to do short-term rentals, you have to get a specific license. And it's not a particularly difficult license to get. However, you have to meet certain requirements. And one of the major ones, or one that really stands out, is that the place you want to rent has to have the habitability certificate, Agibilità. Now, people who have been looking to buy a home, they might come across homes that don't have habitability certificate, and the habitability certificate certifies that the property is fully building compliant and has all the systems in order and everything is up to code. However, you can buy a home that is not fully compliant. You can buy a home that doesn't have the habitability certificate because you can buy a home that is actually a ruin, that is not finished because someone was building it and halfway through they decide to sell. That home doesn't have building compliance or doesn't have, actually habitability. Or you might have a place that has, that doesn't have habitability because the previous owner did an extension without building permit. Also, you can have a place that has habitability, but actually after the habitability certificate, the owner did something to the property that technically would prevent the habitability to be confirmed if another inspection was done.
Okay.
So the bottom line is, if you're gonna do an Airbnb or B&B business in Italy, have your own surveyor inspect the property to check that it qualifies for habitability.
Okay.
Having the certificate does not necessarily mean that the property has all the requirements that are listed on the certificate. Okay, so that is the first requirement.
Okay.
And then after that, obviously, there are other things you might look at business-wise.
Okay. Now there's other questions come up, and this has come up with Airbnbs as well, about you have to collect the hotel tax, you have to upload the passport data and whatnot to the, in our case, it's the police in Paola. Now, tell me a little bit about that. How do you go about setting that all up?
Yes, that's a very good question. So, as I said, there is the regional level, and then there is the city tax. That is handled by the comune, the local municipality.
Okay.
So it's definitely important to look up what the comune has on their online website. Usually there, they have the regulation, and they establish who should pay for, or how much you should collect as a host in city tax. Usually they have a age threshold. Usually under 14-year-old of age, you don't have to pay any, collect any city tax.
Okay.
And then you have also a obligation to file passport information with the local police headquarters of the province. So there is regional, province, and municipal authority.
Okay.
So in Italy, this police headquarters you're referring to is called Questura, which is also the one that handles immigration paperwork. So the Questura will in a centralized manner handle all the guest information. That is an anti-terrorism provision. So,
I wondered about that.
So not complying with it might be a serious violation, might get you in serious trouble because you are violating anti-terrorism law. So you definitely want to set up there is a portal, you want to set up an account with the Questura website, and where you can easily upload passports through your phone. You take a picture and upload them through your account. So it's not difficult, you just need to set it up.
Yeah, okay, good, that's good to know. Okay, so when looking at a property, if you're really planning on renting it out as a vacation rental, what are some of the things that you really need to pay attention to before you purchase?
So if you're buying a place that already has everything running as a B&B and you want to scoop it up, turnkey, already ready and running with an online profile, pictures, and everything, it's definitely important to take that into consideration on so many levels. The negotiation, the contract terms, and then when it is the turnover time, closing. There are so many additional little steps, important steps, that you have to take into consideration when getting to that type of deal. Because obviously it will save you a ton of time to buy something that is already running. And the nice thing is that in Italy, many sellers will not add that to the value of the market price that they're looking for. Usually they will sell the property for the appraised value. So you're actually getting a business on top of a real estate asset, which is almost silly to consider, especially for an American mindset where money is money, right? You're buying a business and the real estate, that's cool. So, however, in order for you to make it as efficient as possible and maximize that investment, you want to make sure that the business transition happens in the smoothest ways possible. So how do you do that? So first of all, as I said, include all the checks as you would do almost in a business due diligence. So check the habitability, check the license, check that all the filing with the Questura have been done properly, that there is an account, and also then regulate the transfer of those accounts. The transfer of the account that you have with B&B booking, the credential. Make sure that you get transferred copyright on the photos, the pictures, the reviews, especially if you say, well, I'm buying this because it's established, has 200 positive reviews, has a 4.5 score. So I want to buy that. So I want to make sure that in my contract, I regulate the transfer of the copyright and the account. If the account cannot be transferred because the seller, the host, has multiple units, well, I might want to talk with Airbnb or Booking to make sure that it is split so that I continue with that record. Also in the interest of the platform, because it's easier to sell something that is good. So, and one of the most important things is deposit for reservations that come in before closing. How do we handle that?
That's right.
Well, many times the deposit is a portion of the whole price, so you can agree with the seller. I'll leave the deposit with you because you're collecting it as a form of commission for the sale, and I will actually deliver the service, and I will retain the balance when it's paid. Or if everything has been paid, then you regulate that you will get a portion of that at closing, so that you can cover your cost for when your guests come. Or if the guest asks for a refund, you regulate that too. How do we handle that? And so forth. So you have to foresee all possible trouble, and unfortunately, that kind of comes with, experience. We've seen so many things that might go wrong. So you think everything that might go wrong, and we have a set of, a checklist. So once you have that, just make sure that when you have your leverage, which is before you have paid initial deposit, you get everything, done and covered, and so you can scoop the business up with peace of mind.
That's fantastic. Now, along with the willingness to sell without considering it as a business, I've also noticed a little bit of hesitance with regard to sharing profit and loss information. Like, I don't think that they would even give you that. So that's another thing that may or may not be available. What's your experience on that? Do they share profit and loss information?
So it depends. So the lawyer will say, well, if they are not sharing it, if they are not asking for money, well, they have all the entitlement not to share it. Who cares? Because they are charging you for the cost of the asset. So, they are not. You cannot force them. However, as a business, with a business mindset, I would say, well, if they're not sharing it, it's because they're not proud of it. And so, if whatever they are telling you, cut that by like half or whatever, or have very little expectations.
Yeah.
Fortunately, right now, there are reviews. So the reviews are a very good indication of how they've been running the business.
Right.
But if they don't share it, cut it by half, whatever they are selling, or they are saying that they are making, and they might even be more than what it is in reality. And also, what we have seen in our experience that usually whatever they tell you without sharing is always more. Like they're always making, even in good faith, they're making up excuses for themselves for why they haven't reached whatever expectation they have for that year. Like, oh, we could collect this year. Yes, but you didn't.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? And yes, you could have, but you didn't.
Right.
And so, if, however, you get the account transferred, you can see actually the account history.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's important.
But then they will tell you, yes, but then I had some who were not recorded, went under the table and stuff. Not verifiable. I'm sorry, I cannot. If they're trying to get more money, then they have to come up with hard evidence. And here is what happens. In Italian business transactions, even if in Italy, especially southern Italy, it's not uncommon to have under the table business every now and then, restaurants, hotels, whatever. People pay cash, not registered transaction, whatever. When it gets to sell that business, the buyer will say, whatever is on the books, we'll start from that.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
So you can tell me whatever story you want, whatever you did, good for you, but not for the transaction, unless it is a super busy place that has the line every day.
Yeah.
And then, but if it is a standard average business that doesn't stand out in the news or whatever, I would go by whatever is documented.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that makes total sense. Well, fantastic. This is really good data to have. I always wondered about the passport thing, like why is that? Now you answer that question. So thank you very much for all your time today. We've had a wonderful time here in Bari, and we're going to run around and do some fun things and show you what Bari looks like. And thanks again for bringing together everybody that we got to talk to today. It's been really wonderful.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Goodbye.